welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman, and it's my pleasure to welcome back Rutgers Baseball head coach Steve Owens ahead of the 24 season beginning. And Coach Owens, thanks so much for taking time to be back here.
Thanks, Aaron. Happy to be here. And we're like a week out, so I guess it's time to start talking about baseball a little bit.
Absolutely, and just excited for what you have coming back and what you've added to this roster. Wanted to first ask just what the process has been this offseason. You really were able to maintain your core, but also you brought in a lot of transfers as well. How has that kind of dynamic and mix worked out, in the months leading up to now?
Yeah, you never know. There's always, in today's kind of world of athletics, there's always quite a bit of turnover, kind of designed that way, I guess now, but or evolved into that. But we're happy with the freshmen that we brought in. They've been a good fit for our program. We're extremely excited about our returning players and kind of what they're bringing to the table. And then there's some transfers in there that are going to play, very large roles for us in different spots around the field. Together, the group has meshed pretty well, and we're excited about kind of how they're going about their business and how they've acted as a team. They've worked hard and seem to be a pretty close group, which is exciting.
And obviously 2 years ago had that breakthrough season, had another successful year last year, but maybe fell short of where you wanted this team to be. What were the biggest takeaways from last season, and how has that kind of motivated this year's team?
Yeah, I mean, we were outstanding in 22, played really well throughout and won, 40-something games. And last year, I think, 10 games over 500 and finishing fifth in the Big Ten Conference, pretty much squandering a couple games in the tournament, in the Big Ten tournament that I think were winnable for us. But all in all, I guess maybe a little bit short of what could have happened. I don't know about expectations. We've only been here a couple years, and we've gone from, the bottom to finishing near the top of the conference. So I feel that's really good progress, and we're hoping to continue to build on that, take another step forward with this year's team. And again, we have a very competitive schedule, and I think it's, the conference schedule is quite tough for us this year, and we can get into that a little bit when we get going. But we're excited about the group, and I think last year was very solid. There was things that could have happened differently for us early in the season, like it did the year before, that could have, put us into 37, 38 type win season. But we came up short. So we're hoping to, be better this year.
One development last season was the emergence of Christian Coppola as your ace mid-year, really excelled at that role in Big Ten play. What has his development been like? He was with Team USA over the summer, and what are your expectations for him in this year too?
Well, he had a really good second half of his freshman year. We kind of thrust him into the Friday role, which we weren't sure was the right thing to do or not the right thing to do, but we did it, and it wound up, being good for him and good for us. So now, you have a kid that's coming back in your program who's a sophomore that has already pitched, in your team's biggest games each weekend. We feel good about that going in, having a sophomore, Friday type starter. He had the USA experience. He didn't throw a lot in the summer. It was maybe 7 or 8 innings. And then, we were relatively conservative with him in the fall, got him ramped up pretty early. And, he's pitched well so far. And we've been inter-squatting since September. So it's time to play against somebody else, getting a little stale right now. But we're excited about him. He's still got work to do. There's still growth and maturation to what he's doing. But I think when the lights go on, he'll be ready to go.
And a veteran pitcher you have back is Jake Marshall, now a grad. how much do you expect him to play a role just in terms of either as a starter or in the bullpen?
We've built him up to be a starter. We haven't determined, our exact starting rotation yet for this weekend, and we'll announce it to the team on Monday. But Jake started for us last year. He also threw out of the pen, and I believe he threw more effectively out of the pen. And he's in much better shape. Looks healthy and confident, and he's throwing his secondary pitches in the strike zone at a much higher level. So we're excited that he can do either of those roles. He could start for us. He could also come into the game in the fifth inning and just finish a game that doesn't have to be, where we don't have to use another pitcher. And I think that that's probably his best role. But at any point, somebody comes up sore. Right now, I think Justin Sinibaldi is kind of, scheduled in there to be a starter, and a freshman, Zach Konstanovsky.
And in terms of the bullpen, you had some turnover there, but you have two veteran arms that have been pretty reliable for you over the years, Sam Portnoy and Ben Gorski. How important is that to have that kind of stability in your bullpen, going into the season?
It's extremely important. Anything in the bullpen is important. We've had to throw too many innings out of the bullpen, and you never have enough, relievers. So getting length out of our starters, quality length out of our starters, is extremely important for us this year. And it's been a focus all year, with us challenging those pitchers to stay out there longer than the other guys and give us a chance to shorten the game with our bullpen. And you can use your bullpen a lot to win games. We've had to use it too much. And so there's, cumulative effects of that going through a long season where guys have had a tendency in the bullpen to wear down a little bit at the end. And what we're hoping is, we've built up 6 or 7 guys for length. So if we can, get 4 or 5 innings out of our starters early, and then we have 2 or 3 relievers that can give us, a couple innings, 2 or 3 innings, or one guy give us 4, then the other games we can go, shorter. And if you use guys shorter, you can use them more often. So we have a plan for kind of, you always have a plan as a coach, and then the plan either, the plan at the beginning might not be the plan in the middle, and it might not be the plan at the end. It has to evolve. The players make the plan work, right? You can have a plan on paper and say, we have this. The reality is the plan doesn't come clear until you start playing guys with different color uniforms on.
Absolutely, makes sense. And just talking in terms of position players, obviously Josh Kuroda-Grauer is starting to get, not starting to, getting more and more buzz. Voted one of the top shortstops in the country, had a big summer in the Cape Cod League. Just in terms of what does he mean for this team, just both on the field, but also as a leader in this program now?
Yeah, I mean, he's a leader. We don't have captains. We have some veteran players that we want leadership from, everybody across the board. And Josh is one of those guys. He's extremely consistent in his life. He's extremely consistent in baseball. He's gotten better each year. He'll continue to get better this year. His defense is high level, and we need more out of him offensively. He's capable of more extra base hits, higher average, more stolen bases. And so we'll be leaning on him for consistency, being there every single day in all aspects of the game. But he's an exciting player, and I'm sure he'll be one of the best players in the conference, and probably put himself in a good spot on the draft board in July also.
And just speaking of the infield, also Tony Santamaria is back. How important is that to the team to have him back and the stability he brings?
About as important as anything could possibly ever be, because not having Tony last year, who was one of our best players the year before, and I think he had 60-something RBIs his first year with us. Having him back with his defense, his speed, his athleticism, he's physical. He can play hard every day and not wear down. again, maybe one of the most talented players that I've had over the years, and I'm expecting Tony to have a great season and enjoy being back out on the field, and I think he could put some numbers up.
Trevor Cohen's a guy that really stepped up as a freshman, had some big moments for you. How has his development gone in terms of the type of role you expect him to have this year?
It's gone great. He's bigger and stronger. He's a good listener. You can coach Trevor very hard. He can handle it. He learns. He's not afraid to fail. He attacks the game. Again, a good athlete, right? A high school football quarterback, been in pressure and things like that. And so hopefully he learns, the ups and downs of what happened to him last year with the awesome start and then not so good in the middle and then okay at the end. And he can put together, being a good team is about stability from your best players. You can, there's other players on your team that are going to be really good some days and help you win a game. And there's players that could have an outstanding weekend and help you win a game. Your better players, the guys that are out there every day, especially your top 3 or 4 position players, they have to be good every single day. There's no ups and downs with those guys if you're going to be a good team. So Trevor's in that group of guys we have high expectations for, and I'm sure he'll do his best to step up and meet those expectations.
Curious about the catching position. You have brought in J.D. Jones, the transfer from Miami. Also have Jackson Natali and Joey Esposito. Just curious on how that rotation's working at that position.
Well, we have Hugh Pinckney, who caught a lot last year. And so Hugh had a pretty good summer in the Cape Cod League, and it's gotten bigger and stronger. Coach, we have a new coach in our program. We added a coach, Danny Buffet, who's a catcher. And so now, a lot of his time is with our catching guys. And that's made a huge difference in their development, their skill work, their teaching, and they've really worked hard. So I really like our catching group. Hugh's a left-handed hitter, handles the bat very well, has a great grasp of the strike zone, and has handled the pitching well and is throwing much better. JD, very solid player in all aspects, and has some experience to him. And Jackson Natili is one of the most exciting players that I've recruited here for sure. He has an electric arm. He's big. He's fast twitch, and he hit close to 400 in the fall, and he's hitting over 400 now. The kid has he's a good ball player, and we're pretty happy with where we're at that position right now. Got a lot of good choices, and I think they'll all factor in.
Well, and that was going to be my question on Pinckney, being that he did, split some time in the outfield last year. Does that kind of versatility play into things again this year, being able to move him around a little bit when necessary?
No, not at this point. That could happen because, we got to score runs to win. But right now, the catching position is kind of a tough position with how grueling it is and how much travel we play and how many games we play in a week. It's not a one-person position. So, and there's a lot of injuries with foul tips and blocking balls that hit you in the, throat. And it's a tough position. So you can lose guys for short periods pretty quick. We're pretty happy with all 3 of those guys. And, the guys who play the best will play the most. That's just like it is, everywhere else in our program.
And just talking about that schedule, I think you always do a really good job of the challenges that you have being in the Northeast and starting in February. You're going south quite a bit once again. Obviously you're at North Carolina in midweek during spring break. You're playing some pretty good schools down there. You also have that 3-game set again with UConn. How important has the non-conference been just for preparation, but also getting ready for the Big Ten, but also building your resume for the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, this should be, 3, 4, 5 bid league this year, and then I think with the coast to coast expansion next year of those 4 West Coast teams, could be a 7 or 8 bid team, bid league going forward. So not finishing first in the league, you finish 5th in the league with a good resume, you got a very good chance to be in the NCAA tournament. So every game is important. We try to play good teams on the road early in decent weather. We have a good schedule this year, playing some teams that I think are going to be pretty good, and it's always challenging, coming out of the Northeast and then playing teams that have been outside most of the year, if not all of the year. But it is what it is. It's the same every year, and we've got outside a lot this year. We've been out 15 times probably this winter, playing and practicing. So that prepares you a little bit better, makes it easier to play the game instead of coming out of an indoor space and trying to play outside. But the schedule's good. I think you have 5 weekends, I think, before 5 or 6 weekends before we start the Big Ten, and decent number of home games. A lot of our midweeks are home. So it should align to be a challenging schedule. And again, our goal is to try to win every weekend. If you can win every weekend, you're a really good club.
And just speaking about being outdoors and the preparation this offseason, you had some fall games as well, and you had Vanderbilt in terms of winning that kind of intra-scrimmage or whatever that was termed. How much was that a confidence builder for the team and the guys to kind of look around and realize how strong they can compete?
Yeah, I mean, the fall is a practice segment. It's to get young players acclimated. It's to develop returning players. It's to challenge each other and to kind of see who's going to step out of the group. And it's to get all of our stuff in with 15, 16 new guys each year. Playing the couple scrimmages that we get to play against somebody else is important from a competitive standpoint. And we did play well this fall, but it is what it is. It's a fall scrimmage. We played them to play really good pitching, to pitch against good hitters and defend that speed. And it was a good experience, but it has no bearing, and it's something we built on and we're excited about, how we performed, shows us what we can do, but it has no bearing on whether we win next Friday. It's in the past.
Right. Makes sense. And just in terms of going back to the Big Ten, and you talking about how competitive you think that league's going to be, just in terms of, I know you've always been a big proponent of the league, not necessarily getting thought of as highly as it is. Do you think that the West Coast coming in is going to help that perception? And how strong do you feel that the league is going into this season?
I think it's strong this year. I think it's always been good and underrated by a lot of people in college baseball, including the NCAA selection committee. But I feel that, it's going to be strong and deep this year. A lot of good high-level pro players and good teams. But I also feel that even going forward next year, adding those teams in is going to totally elevate the perception of the conference, as well as the talent, the RPI for the conference and the individual schools in there, and the opportunity for enhanced postseason play. So I think it's going to be a positive for our sport, especially for our sport, especially because of how strong those teams are.
And just last couple for you in terms of where you've gotten the program to since you arrived to where you are now heading into this season. What are your own expectations for this current group?
I like this group. We've done a lot of my coaching staff has worked extremely hard with this group of players. They've accepted every challenge that we've thrown to them and not shied away from it. They've stepped up, they've worked hard, and they're talented. So, the formula is there for a good ball club. Now you have to go earn it, right? Like what people write about you on paper and what they say, that really doesn't mean anything. It's what you do. It's what you do that counts. And so, I feel like the past few years we've won a lot. We won 77 games in the past 2 years. We've had a lot of pro players drafted. Our recruiting has been elevated. I think people are well aware of how we play, that we have tough kids and play hard, that you just don't show up here and think you're going to beat us. We've been able to win on the road. We've been able to win at home. So there's been a lot of progress, both with what we've done and the perception of what we're doing. And I feel that this team has enough experienced players to understand the importance of every game and of every day. And we want to play in the NCAA tournament, bottom line. If we can win the conference to do that, that would be awesome. But we're definitely hoping that our talent and our preparation each and every week put us in position to play baseball in June. And, our goal is to hang an NCAA banner on our outfield wall, because one has been put up there in quite some time.
Well, certainly Rutgers fans are excited for this team. And last question, just in terms of getting people to Banton Field, having the lights now, and then also the future plans with the Middlesex County Stadium and all that. How excited are you just to continue to grow the fan base and have a presence at home?
Yeah, I think playing at home last year was cool. We won all the home. I think we lost one game at home. We might have played 7 or 8. And that was fun. I think we have 8 or 9 or 10 home games at night, some with Friday and Saturday night games. So, we're getting the parents and the students that want to come, and then the people that have interest in our program. And then if you do well, other people come, right? In New Jersey, if you win a little bit, they come. But in addition, adding families in and being able to, go to work, eat dinner at home, and then still get here for the start of a game that's starting at 6:30 on a Friday night, instead of the game starting at 3:00 and nobody being here. It's totally different. We had great crowds last year, like on weekends that we played Michigan and Penn State at home later in the year, even Illinois. Saturday nights were dynamic. And so we're hoping to replicate that. I think we can get more people out, and obviously there's a plan in place to have a nice venue in 26 to do some stuff over in Middlesex, which is going to be, a beautiful $80 million stadium. And I think that will bring some more people in too. This year we also, in addition to our streaming, because every single game we play is streamed on BTN Plus, home or away, and our people at Rutgers do an incredible job. I think they were voted the best webcast, for streaming our home games, the past couple of years. They do a great job. It's just like watching TV. But this year, for the first time, we'll be having Big Ten Network home games at Banton Field. The infrastructure and the platforms are in place now. So we're excited about that too. We got a good market of a lot of people, not too far away here in New Jersey and New York. And, hopefully they'll get a chance to watch us. Because the good thing about those is they play, and then they'll play again, 8:00 in the morning the next day, and then it'll play a month later. Like people that are kind of streaming around the Big Ten network will be able to watch us, play on national television, which is pretty cool.
Exciting times with Rutgers Baseball. Head coach Steve Owens opens up the 24 season February 16th at Winthrop. Really excited for your team this year. I know Rutgers fans are as well, and always appreciate your time and talking to you, and best of luck this season.
All right. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate the time.